It came to me in a vision. I stood there, staring across the city of New York. The peyote and the tequila had just kicked in, and I was tripping fucking balls. I saw the Division in its full potential glory. A future Division where everything worked. There was no more cheating in PvP. The servers worked flawlessly. Revive worked first time every time, and somebody had finally fixed the fucking audio levels on stage of the game. The weekly mission reward was always something excellent and useful, and not some fucky Cassidy. My favourite gear was always bug-free and never got nerfed, and every time a player did the chicken dance, automated game code would break their legs and their character would have to crawl around the map for the next hour. It was a perfect world, and in my hallucinogenic state, I had figured out exactly how to achieve it. Make everything a fucking microtransaction, because if anything goes wrong with that shit, it gets fixed in a cunting instant. Fuck! I think it's fair to say that this has been an interesting week in the Division. Massive are still intent on introducing a pedo gambling minigame in patch 1.7. The console PTS is kind of working, although a lot of players got left out in the cold. The game servers are still a bag of fuck, and there is still no anti-cheat. Buzz Lightyear got banned from the Ubisoft forums for being polite and respectful, mentioning the 1.7 gambling minigame. And finally, the console versus PC Master Race Wars proved to be more interesting than Game of Thrones Season 7 premiere. A quick spoiler, Cersei Lannister turned out to be a fucking android. Okay, that's not true, but every time you look at her from now on, the idea will be stuck in your head. So let's kick off with the state of the game from 13th of July, which turned out to be a bit of an anticlimax in the end as it was only a few minutes long. Well, kind of. You'll see.
Hello everyone, welcome to the state of the game for July 13th. I am still all alone today. Right now everything is just all about the PTS. We're having a bit of complications with the keys for American players. I know that this is a bit of a bummer, so yeah, we're sorry for that. There was a mistake in the invitation process. Sorry about that. We've had a lot of contacts from players about that. So there is an investigation. Bear with us. Obviously, it's not perfect. This is all learnings for us. We have a bunch of bug fixes. That's all I have in my list. American players have not yet been invited. If you received a message saying you are not eligible, make sure you're connected to the right account. If you are connected to the right account, you're probably from Asia, but received an invite by mistake. Like the 4th of July. And we're also looking at other reports of players who claim that they have more playtime than others and filling all the criteria, and we're not invited to the PTS. Global events are not activated, recalibration is not working, we know all of that, we're working on it. PTS free coming next week on PC. A look at the global event loot rewards, bug fixes, lots of bug fixes. I know that there's a lot of frustration going on with the PTS on console. It's the first time we do it. We're learning. We know it's not perfect and we understand the frustration, but please also understand that there's a lot of work going behind that. We believe that this is important for the community and we believe this is important for the game. Once the PTS is done, we will, look at what kind of impact it had on the community. It's the first time we do it. We know it's not perfect. We are learning from it. The end goal here is to make the game better. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next week.
Professional as fuck. The shortest actual state of the game ever that somehow managed to clock in as a 4.5 hour video file. Genius. Yannick was looking particularly fresh and groomed. He must have been in court or something. I will sadly admit, though, that I probably let him off the hook this week. The show was so honest, self-effacing, and full of genuine apologies, it was like watching a confessional. I just went weak at the knees and decided to go easy on poor forever alone Yannick. But then I slapped myself in the chops and came to my senses. And because I don't want to let you guys down, and because, for want of a better way of putting it, I'm a cunt, this week you're going to get an extra free state of the game where I could possibly be accused of being less sympathetic. Since censorship has reared its ugly head again this week, I thought I would give it a go myself. It looks like fun. So here is the state of the game from the 20th of July, where, like a good Samaritan, I decided to pay it forward. And by it, I mean fucking censorship. Oh, let me know if you figure out what Keith Zorg is drinking, because it doesn't look like coffee to me. My money is on neat vodka or champagne.
All right. Hi. Yes, we agree. The invite process of the PTS on console was kind of a mess.
Excuse me. Oh man, I wish I had a really clever final word. Excuse me.
Nice to note they slightly improved Yannick's crazy audio level roller coaster fuckfest by giving him a new mic. But you will just have to take my word for that since I censored him. Hamish dropped by and was actually in that state of the game, but I censored him too. For the record, editing it like this is piss easy. It requires a lot of work to chop this up so they actually get their points across and make it entertaining. Just hacking it up unfairly is as easy as fuck and saves me a ton of time. Isn't censorship a fun and time-saving practice? Fair? No. Efficient? Damn fucking straight it is. I see what they're doing there with Keith Zorg, head of the nerfing department at Redstorm. They drag him in to announce Nurse to take the heat off Yannick and Hamish. They're using you, bro. They're setting you up to play the part of a comedy villain. You even look like one. Sausage nerfs, SVD nerfs, Seeker nerfs, Deadeye nerfs. Funny how they seem to wheel out Zorg every time shit like this is announced. it has not gone unnoticed. The design philosophy of 1.7 is now becoming transparent too. All 1.7 classified gear is going to be godlike, and all pre-1.7 gear is going to continue to get nerfed into the fucking ground. It's very nice to see that the console versus PC master race wars are finally dying down. Our community is too small as it is. Dividing ourselves into 4 groups, PvE versus PvP, console versus PC, does none of us any favours. For all its faults, the console PTS is at least an attempt to treat everyone as equals. But it's still a shame to see that PvE players are going to experience another round of gear nerfs motivated entirely by PvP balancing. Anyway, everyone who did their best to calm this situation down this week deserves a big pat on the back and a quick handjob from the community team. Everyone who posted deliberately obnoxious, trolling and anti-console user comments to inflame the situation, well, I hope all of your children are born with deformed and misshapen penises. Especially the girls. The PTS and console PTS has finally pulled its dick out of its own arse and is proceeding relatively well. Ironically, the major problems with the PTS turned out to be nothing to do with the complexities of organising PTS on console. As it happens, it was mostly a basic clerical error in the Ubisoft office. It never occurred to them that they wouldn't be able to send emails via the automated system to people who had opted out of receiving emails through the automated system. Funny that. The other issue was that nobody from Asia is allowed to take part. Perhaps they don't want secret console technology being leaked to North Korea. Who fucking knows? Lesson learned, I guess, albeit a little unfair on our Asian brethren, but the law is the law. Another condition of the console PTS that Yannick only just realised was that you have to be 18. I guess the fact he discussed this contradicts another statement he made about kiddie gambling and this being an 18-only game, and a tacit confirmation that he knows damn well the division has lots of under 18 players. But this aside, lots of people who are not 18 got an invite regardless. Worth noting that if you genuinely qualify for a console PTS code in North America, you fulfill all the requirements but didn't get one, get in touch with the support team as they have some spare codes to give out. I can't guarantee shit. I'm just saying get in touch with support because there might be a chance of still getting access if you were legitimately denied. The main feedback I've been getting about the PTS is that it was pretty much a waste of time at first because it was as broken as fuck. The current iteration of the PTS is doing much better. But people are getting fucked off that every time a tiny change is made, the PTS servers fires an entirely new 45 gig download at them. Frankly, you had better have fast uncapped internet or you are going to be cutting down on your porn downloads for the rest of the month. I personally think the whole exercise was under-resourced and badly planned. But if I were a gambling man, or gambling child, I would reckon the primary problem is that instead of paying for a dedicated project team, solely focused on this for a month, a small crew of people valiantly tried to do this on top of their normal workload, and it was destined to run into problems. This said, NASA spent a decade making a space lander and flying it to Mars, then smashed it into the surface of the planet at the speed of a fucking meteorite because NASA was using feet and inches measurements and the European Space Agency were using meters and centimetres. Shit happens. Even the smartest people fuck up gloriously from time to time. Let's just acknowledge that it was complicated to organise, they did their best, but operating on a fucking shoestring probably didn't help matters. The big issue on everyone's lips is 1.7 classified gear sets. I think everyone is smart enough to figure out that classified gear sets are insanely powerful, and you don't need me to tell you that again. Someone has already built a Firecrest hybrid build with a 30k fire tick without even being min-maxed. And a couple of people have developed a God Mode ninja bag build which turns you into a fucking Terminator, where you can solo any content in the game whilst eating a sandwich and casually stroking one out. Classified builds are going to be an instant I win button. Enough said. The main issue for me, and for a lot of people, is the drop rates, and specifically the RNG. This game already has issues with reinforcing the relationship between effort and fucking reward. For example, this week I won the same gun from the Twin Valkyries 3 fucking times. I hate those Harry Potter guns, and I win 3 in a week. Let's just say I won't be bothering with the weekly missions for a while. I'm sure everyone has experienced doing their weeklies and winning some fuck bag loot like a Cassidy. This shit has to stop. Sticking all the exotic guns, most of which are fucking useless, and many of which you can just buy from the vendor, into the same loot tables as the classifieds is not a smart move. The hardcore and the casual players will both have different ideas about the price of the classified caches and how much work should be required to cap one. That's an argument for another day, and can easily be adjusted in the live game. What I want to talk about are the areas where you can reduce or get rid of the RNG fuck factor, which repeatedly dicks players and demotivates them. With 1.7, only 3 of the classified sets are coming out, so already, if you get a piece, that's about 6% chance it's the bit you need. On top of that, you gotta hope it's not a totally fucking shit-rolled piece of garbage. Nobody wants to grind their arse off for the whole fucking weekend and just because RNGesus decides to finger them in the anus, walk away with a Cassidy, a Pecan, 1 piece of shit-rolled Lone Star and 2 identical Strikers holsters. What I'm suggesting is not new and has been raised by other people, but simply put, we need more localization and less RNG with the loot. If you buy a classified cache, it should always have a piece of classified gear in it. If you buy an exotic cache, it should have an exotic in it. Too much common fucking sense? It's great the drop rates have been increased, and it's great that they're not too hard to farm. But the crapshoot element of random probability needs to be removed or reduced. Let's have classified caches with only classified loot in. Maybe, for less credits, have exotic caches with exotics in them. Maybe have the classified gear in set specific caches. So for example, you go and choose to buy a Strikers cache, a Lone Star cache. You still only have a 17% chance of getting the correct item you want, and it still might be shit rolled. Maybe some, or all of this gear should be in a vendor. People need to have a bit more control of what loot they're targeting, and the game needs to reinforce the relationship between effort and reward. At the moment, let's fucking face it, the Division is like asking people to get rich by working 60-hour weeks in a fucking factory and paying them in lottery tickets. Sure, some of them will win some money, but it's going to be a crapshoot, and many will work their asses off and get precisely jack shit. At the moment, the player runs the gauntlet of compounding RNG. You grind the fucking outbreak caches. RNG dictates if you get a classified item. RNG dictates if it's the right gear set. RNG then dictates if it's a piece that you need or a duplication. RNG then dictates if it's fucky rolls. It's just a giant fuck bag of probability rolls on top of fucking probability rolls, and everyone is getting a bit tired of it. And don't forget that eventually there will be a ton more classified sets coming out, and eventually the chance the correct piece will drop will reduce to about 2%. Remember that exotic drops are contaminated by nearly 15 totally fucking useless guns. The recent survey comments were golden. Order all the guns by how much you like them. And people were just asking for a fucking button to press to say, I hate them all. A little RNG is exciting. Too much RNG breaks the connection between hard work and reward, unless you've got like 18 hours a day to play. So, the pedo gambling debate went into full effect this week. For those of you who live under a rock or who are incredibly badly informed, probably because you watch too many of my videos, in patch 1.7 they're introducing encrypted caches. You spend real life money for a box containing random items. The idea is that there's something you like, you can't buy it directly, so you keep buying caches until you get lucky. By lucky, I mean broke, with no money. You have the option to grind the keys in-game, but unless the keys shit into your bag every time you fire your fucking gun, this will take you an eternity. Some players have very strong feelings about in-game gambling mini-games and think it's shady as fuck. Possibly the highlight of the week, well, for me at least, was the stunning public relations jizzgasm involving the highly respected, nay revered veteran division YouTuber, Lieutenant Buzz Lightbeer. He had the temerity to go on the division forums and make a very polite and respectful post questioning the ethics, economics and justifications behind the introduction of the gambling minigame in patch 1.7. Seizing the opportunity for an easy PR victory and a chance to win the hearts and minds of the division community, all 26 of us, Ubisoft leapt into action. They deleted the fucking post, deleted the fucking comments, and then they fucking deleted him. Life ban from Ubisoft forums. Good job. I think we can safely consider that pooch well and truly screwed. Fortunately, in the morning, calmer heads prevailed. Matt Schotcher and Yannick woke up to the news while still dressed in their Harry Potter jimmy jammies, clutching their full-size Aspira body pillows, and then they dashed into the office as fast as their little micro-scooters could carry them. Credit to Matt and Yannick for unfucking the situation, reinstating the post and unbanning Buzz, and generally pissing on the flames to calm the pitchfork-waving hordes, of which I proudly consider myself a member. At first it was suggested that this was an automated ban, and let's be honest, 0 people believed that for a fucking second. But regardless, it was nice that they faced down their evil corporate cunt lords, pulled the collective dicks out of the pooch's arses and set matters straight. Buzz is now unbanned, and the post is back up on the forums. Thank you Yannick, thank you Matt Schotcher. Nobody would say why Buzz was actually banned, and Buzz, honourable as he is, refuses to divulge the reason until he gets permission. So without any hard facts, and in the interests of journalistic integrity, I'm just going to fucking make some shit up. Using my crystal ball, here is what I think happened. The finance department is probably very aware that pedo gambling is going to make a fucking ton of cash. Shit. If completionists, children, gambling addicts and gullible folk end up paying approximately 10 times the value of every item to eventually cap them all, there is a lot of money at stake. The legal department have probably jumped on this situation like a tramp on chips. They know in-game gambling can make a fuck ton of cash, but they're also aware that it's legally a very, very grey area of law. On top of this, it involves many countries' laws because these transactions will be occurring all over the world and across national boundaries and across state borders, all of which compounds the potential legal ramification and exposure to future risk. The community managers have clearly been heavily briefed by the legal department and are stoically silent on the whole issue of encrypted caches and are treating it very delicately. 99% of the time, they are saying nothing, and on the rare occasion anything is put down in writing, it reads like it's been edited by the legal department and all significant accountable facts are absent. We don't have drop rates, transparency, loot tables, just warm and fuzzy reassurances that it's really nice and great. Is it fuck? I reckon Buzz made his post about RNG gambling. Legal shat their pants, the accountants shat their pants, and the forum madmins shat their pants. And collectively a great shitting of pants occurred. Nobody spoke to the community managers, and they just piled in with their fucking size 12 boots and the banhammer. They clearly didn't know who Buzz was. Then in the morning, the community managers wake up, shit their pants, because one of the most calm, professional and fair-minded content creators just got a life ban for daring to criticise the gambling as putting money before the players. And frankly, given the way he was insta-banned, he is clearly onto something. Perhaps I am wrong about all of this. Then again, if we were being informed about what actually happened, I wouldn't have to guess. So let's take a look at the fucking science and the maths behind this. To explain, I'm going to use Panini football stickers as an example, as it's an almost identical financial model to the encrypted caches and is also a good comparison because similarly, it looks fairly innocent, it's widely accepted, and it's also a pedo gambling scam designed to fuck kids in the arse. A full set of Panini football stickers involves capping all 640 stickers in the set. You buy them in packs of 5 and have no idea what you're getting, assuming it's totally fair and random, which isn't necessarily the case. More of this later. How many stickers do you think you would need to buy to get all 640? 899 packets. That's 4,495. So at $1 a pop, in order to get the $128 worth of stickers, you would need to spend $900. That's about a 9-to-1 ratio. And that is based on the massive assumption that the percentages are not rigged. Would you pay $20 for a loaf of fucking bread? Whilst the stats I used are accurate, there will be some variance between these figures and the gambling minigame. With the sports stickers, you get 5 per pack. In pedo gambling in 1.7, you get 3 items. With stickers, you get duplicates, and you can get to swap those with people. With pedo gambling, you get a fragment of a cache back if you get a duplicate item. With the child snatcher gambling vendor, we have no idea how many items there are, whether it's fair, whether the loot table is working as intended, or if, for example, the super popular high demand items like, hypothetically, the Beats headphones, are put in there with only 1,000,000 to 1 chance to drop. But they might not even be in the loot table. They're under no legal obligation to tell us, and Ubisoft will not disclose statistics. So yeah, don't go using sports trading cards as justification for the pedo gambling, because they're a fucking scam as well. The industry has been investigated numerous times, some countries have legislation about it, and Switzerland has even conducted a legal spot check on them prior to a World Cup to enforce fairness. Unfortunately, the law is only just starting to catch up with video game technology, but it's closing in fast. But before we get into this, I would just like to list my top 5 most irrelevant arguments regularly used to defend pedo gambling in patch 1.7. I do this because they are logically inconsistent, and I'd rather point people at this than explain the same fucking points over and over. And I hope people realise that I'm criticising their arguments and not them, so just because I disagree shouldn't be taken as an insult. So here are the top 5 most irrelevant defences for kiddie gambling. 1. Other games do it. True, other games do shitty gambling too. This is not a defence. If I burgle your fucking house, I can't defend myself in court by saying, other people rob houses all the time. The other people do it defence might fly with your 8-year-old niece, but grown-ups use better logic. 2. It's not pay to win. True, it's not pay to win. It's also not murder. It's not spaceflight or anal sex. This is not a logical defence. If I get arrested, fucking your pets, it is not a logical defence to say, yeah, but I didn't shoot them. Congratulations. If it was pay to win, it would be even shittier. But we're not arguing that it's pay to win. It's gambling and scummy. 3. It's an 18 rated game. Firstly, lots of people playing the game are not 18, as specifically acknowledged by Yannick in the state of the game. Most importantly, this is not an 18 rated game. It's rated between 15 and 18 depending on your territory. In the States, it's mostly 17 plus. Yannick is factually incorrect when he claimed that. 4. It's supporting the game. I call bullshit. This game made a vast and immeasurable profit. If Ubisoft wants to spend money on Year 2 content to preserve its IP, the reputation of the game, the company share price, and improve the sales for the Division 2, they can invest some of the profit into Year 2. Any argument that somehow claims poor little Ubisoft with a turnover of only $3 billion a year needs our pennies to survive is childish fucking nonsense. I didn't see the servers get better since they introduced the premium credit vendor, for fuck's sake. In fact, they got fucking worse. Money from kiddie gambling is almost certainly going into the fucking bank account of Ubisoft. Look, I'm sorry, but you can't claim to be a business when you won't spend money and act like a charity when you want some of our money. If Ubisoft needs our money to keep the division going, then we should be getting fucking company shares in return, not vanity items. not fucking shoes and a scarf. This game made vast amounts of cash. Spend some of that. For fuck's sake, this isn't fucking Oxfam or a hippie collective. Don't guilt trip people and claim we're not supporting the game if we're not supporting increasing Ubisoft profits. Seriously. 5. Nobody is forcing you to do it. True, but freedom of choice is not a blanket fucking defence for everything. If I pay a starving tramp $20 to drink a pint of my warm piss, that's freedom of choice. It's not ethical though. If I persuade someone to kill themselves, nobody forced them, but I'm still guilty of a crime. Just because someone isn't coerced into doing something that harms them does not automatically mean it's ethical, reasonable, or even fucking legal. I am a massive fan of freedom of choice and freedom of speech, but if you use those freedoms outside the rules of law or boundaries of ethics, then that's on you. An important point here is that there are arguments to support the pedo gambling, but it is gambling. And just because you reckon it's fine doesn't stop it being gambling. Of course it's fucking gambling. You spend money on randomised, undisclosed fucking prizes. It's fucking gambling. As much as I would like to completely drag Ubisoft backwards through a food blender over this, chances are they just saw everyone else doing it and used that as their fucking moral barometer, instead of using their fucking moral barometer. I'm not sure they realise how much large sections of the community despise these fucking practices. Being arse-fucked by gambling mechanics in other games doesn't mean people are going to enjoy getting arse-fucked in The Division. The bottom line is that this is gambling. It's not value for money, it's not fair on the players. Just stick the fucking shitty items in the store for fuck's sake. Don't expose kids to gambling. Don't use this shill mechanism to make people overpay. Don't exploit gambling addicts. Don't create gamblers. And looking at the maths, you know damn well people are going to get massively ripped off. Look, I'm not some fucking preaching Care Bear snowflake social justice warrior, hell-bent on turning the Division into a family-friendly safe space. I'm a big fan of letting kids do crazy shit when they're underage. If you change the minimum age for brothels to 11, I wouldn't give a fuck. Give free booze to kids. That would have saved me a ton of cash when I was a teenager. If 14-year-old children want to swagger around town with prostitutes, hanging off their arms, smoking cigars and drinking Cristal, I couldn't give two fucks. But shit, at least give them value for money. These encrypted caches ain't that. They are a fucking money-grubbing scam. I'll be upfront. I'm a fucking sucker for all that cosmetic shit, I really am. I'll slag it off all day to look cool on the internet, but I bought that overpriced drop the mic emote, a few more besides. I even bought that fucky Alpha Bridge skin, and some other crap too. I'm not ashamed to say, I want my character to look cool. Stop laughing. And I don't mind throwing a few bucks at it. And if this money goes towards the game, fixing the revive bug, paying for some anti-cheat, and hiring a second game server, fantastic. But really? Really? Is all the money from the gambling going towards reinvigorating the game? The servers have got fucking worse since the premium vendor was introduced, for fuck's sake. And hell, I don't want to bankroll Mr. Pussyhead Mechanics. I would rather keep my fucking money, thank you very much. My point is basically, vendors good, gambling bad. My position on the matter is ultimately no more complicated than that shit right there. Well, it's time for me to put on my speedos and paddle my little rubber dinghy out into the vast sea of diarrhea and excrement that is the weekly vendor reset. And dear fucking lord, I hope I don't fall in. The hub vendor. I guess they finally found him a job as the pedo gambling vendor. What can I say? You're a useless cunt and nobody likes you. I guess you're perfect for the job. The special equipment vendor. 30 seconds of my life that I will never fucking get back. Base of operations recipe vendor. Hoover the max level recipes up regardless, but the only thing of vague note is the M9 pistol. Advanced weapon vendor. The extended mag is actually fairly decent, the rest is crap. Nothing better than you could get from a named boss run. The grip will do, a bad MG5 if you're desperate. The base of operations weapon vendor, a bag of toss. Base of operations gear vendor, another bag of toss. Appearance vendor, a free puffer jacket. Would I wear it? Fuck no. But it's free, and it's nice to see free shit turning up at the vendor again. The base of operations dark zone gear vendor, pixels with numbers on them, and none of them are worth buying. Wolves Den, a shit sniper rifle. Good if you don't own one, but this variant has less mod slots and shit rolls. Autumn's Hope, low roll support station range mods, better than nothing. And that fucking guitar ain't gonna play itself. I don't actually play the piano, but if I did, it would sound like this. Dante's Run, sufficient accomplished knee pads with plus XP on them. XP mods, all good for Buzz Lightyear's solo grinding build. Kerman Station, fuck all. Depressed Joe is depressed. He spent all of his money on encrypted pedo caches, and all he has to show for it are 5 copies of the same fucky shirt. The Cavern, bad accomplished knee pads. You will need to roll plus XP on them. 7% support station duration mods. Camp Hudson's weapon vendor, fucking nothing. Camp Hudson's gear vendor, fuck all. Meat Locker, a player dressed up like a hornet. And more peaches. Madison Stand, not max rolled Seeker Mine damage mods. Seekers are getting destroyed in 1.7 because somebody gave Terry Spear a boo-boo in Last Stand. So buy 4 of these, build a one-shot Seeker Mine build, and go out with a fucking bang. Last Call, a crappy M4 assault rifle. There's my girl. How long has that doll been there? The Ward, he still hasn't managed to shit himself to death. Christ, what's that weird smell? Oh my god, I can actually smell some decent loot in here somewhere. Plus 4% damage to elites mods with stamina, plus 5.5% self-heal mods. Both must have items for all your characters. Southpaw, a decent enough, vigorous chest if you need one. You could probably make that one work. Some shit electronics and health mods. I've always wanted to spend a day hiding in the ladies' toilets to listen to what they really talk about behind closed doors. Sadly, my restraining order prohibits it. The Grindhouse. Holy shit, have they changed the modelling of the bins? Excellent, now I can kick them at people. Oh, and there's fuck all at the vendor. The Firewall. Appalling firearms mods. And my lady friend. If you go on a date with me, I promise I will not kidnap and murder you. I've been working on my chat-up lines, can you tell? The Crypt, a crap tyrant suppressor. Is this some new teddy bear worshipping cult? Can I join? It's almost time to finish up, so I can let you guys go and have a shower and cleanse yourself of the filth and bile I've drenched you in. Needless to say, Buzz Lightyear is the man of the hour and deserves all of our respect. By speaking out against the Encrypted Caches vendor, he has everything to lose and nothing to gain. He's not like me. I'll fucking complain about anything. If someone gave me a sack of money, I'd complain it was too fucking heavy. Buzz rarely has anything critical to say about the division, so it's clear he has strong feelings and has stood by them. Good man. I would also like to thank everyone who's been involved in the ongoing debate about the pedo gambling on Twitter and the forums. We don't all necessarily agree on the issue, but salute to everyone involved for an interesting and civil debate, despite our differing views. Lastly, I would like to give a big shout out to Vlammenzee, who does the incredible artwork for my videos. Probably due to his association with me, God tried to smite him down this week. Fortunately, the lightning missed him by 5 meters, but it managed to blow out half of the electronic gadgets in his house, burn his internet cables out of the fucking walls, and probably gave him the fright of his fucking life. Good luck with the repairs, dude. Our thoughts are with you. Good luck, and happy hunting. Fuck off!